Socialism could be defined as an economic or political system where the state owns and controls the means of production and distribution of goods and services. Private ownership of property are not allowed, as citizens all work for the state. The state provides for all at cheaper rates and not to make profit. Socialism provides for its citizens according to their needs and contribution. Countries that practice this system include Russia, Kiev, that is in Europe, Croatia, Bulgaria. These are examples of countries that practice socialism. So in other words, it's an economic or political system where the means and production of goods and services, they are being owned and controlled by the state and not by private individuals. So in socialism, the state works towards the development of everybody. So let's also try to look at the features of socialism. 1. The state controls major portion of the means of productions and distribution of goods and services. Of course, there is monopoly of supplies, inasmuch as there is no free market economy and the production of goods and services is owned and controlled by the state. So there is every possibility that the state is going to monopolize the production of goods and services. So even the supplies of these goods and services is going to be monopolized by the state. Then goods and services are not provided to make profit but to offer essential services to the citizens. Remember, when we are making comparison between socialism and capitalism, the aim of socialism is to maximize the welfare of the citizens. So therefore, the goods and services are not provided to make profit but to offer essential services to the citizens. Of course, there is equitable distribution of income to the people, not according to their ability but according to their contributions and needs. There is no price competition and advertising. These are some of the features or characteristics in a socialist state. In other words, there is a fairness distribution of income, and the income or the resources of the state, they are being distributed not according to their ability but according to the needs and the contribution of the citizens, unlike what happens in capitalism. Of course, there is no price competition. When we say there is no price competition, there is regulations of the market system. In other words, we have price controlled when it comes to socialist system, because in as much as the production of goods and services is being owned and controlled by private individuals, by the state has all the means to regulate the price system. But in the capitalist system that talks about the free market economy, the state has little or no role to play in order to regulate the market system. So these are some of the features or characteristics of socialism. So let's look at the advantages of socialism. 1, we say the system caters for every citizen. That is 1. When you look at capitalism, it is only catering for few people, that is the wealthy people, the capitalists, because these are the people that owns the economy and therefore they control the political power. So therefore it caters for few people, the privileged in society. But socialism, this system caters for every citizen. Of course, there is equitable distribution of goods and services. There is also no class struggle between the rich and the poor. Then in socialism, employment is guaranteed. It is democratic in nature. It is also a unifying factor because it discourages individualism. It also creates no room for hoarding of goods. Private monopoly is prevented in a socialist system. Socialism guarantees the rule of law in a country where it is adopted. It is argued that economic rivalry, especially unhealthy one, is virtually absent in a socialist economic system. So in socialism, what happened is that the system is almost catering for everybody. Then also there is a fearless distribution of goods and services, because it is not only looking after the few privileged in society. Then of course it does not create room for hoarding of goods, because in as much as the production of these goods and services, they are not owned and controlled by private individuals, the state has to ensure that these goods and services are distributed to everybody. But in a capitalist state, in order for the capitalists to increase the prices of goods and services, they can even create artificial scarcity by hoarding goods. So that means if the hoarding of goods is more common in capitalism, but in socialism we don't have hoarding of goods. Of course, private monopoly is also prevented in a socialist system, because most cases capitalism also has a tendency to monopolize trade, especially those who own the money. Sometimes, in as much as we said in capitalism, the economic power controls the political power. So you have certain capitalists who can even bribe government so that they can be the only sole production of certain goods, so that they can monopolize trade and also increase the prices of goods. But that is not the case in socialism. But also look at the argument against socialism, the disadvantages aspect of this economic or political system. One, it encourages laziness. In as much as the state is providing for everybody, there is every tendency that many people will tend to rely on the state. Then also it does not encourage creativity and innovations, because if there is no free market economy and the production, the distribution of these goods and services are owned and controlled by the state, so what happens? We cannot have creativities and innovation. It also denies consumers alternative choice, because you only consume what the state produce. But if you have a free market economy and everybody is producing, what happens? It gives you the opportunity to choose what you want to buy. Also, it does not encourage economic development. Many political scientists also argue that socialism as an economic and political system cannot encourage economic development, because at the end of the day, the state is a sole provider, or is a main source of the means of production of goods and services. And mind you, the aim of the socialist system is to maximize the welfare of citizens and not profit. But if it is a capitalist system, it can encourage economic development, for the fact remains that everybody is engaging on the production of goods and services. At the end of it, the individuals can economically become wealthy, and also the government will be able to collect taxes from them. So therefore, socialism does not encourage economic development. And because of no market competition, the quality of goods are always poor. Because if there's a market competition, everybody will produce to his or her own ability. Then it is not self-regulating and self-functions. It also suppresses individuals' initiation. So these are some of the problems associated with a capitalist system. One, no market competition. There is a poor production of goods and services. It is also not self-regulating and self-functions, because at the end of the day, the state, the development, everything centers around the state. And in as much as everything centers around the state, it is also going to affect the economic development. It suppresses individual initiations, because people can only become creative, they can only develop innovations if they know they are given the platform to do so. But a situation where it is being stifled by the government, then there is a huge problem for citizens to develop creativities and innovations. And of course, there is a huge amount of laziness, because capitalism is not promising to provide everything for the citizens, but socialism is making a promise that we want to provide for the citizens, and therefore it encourages laziness on the part of the people, because they now depend on the state for the means of production of goods and services. So these are some of the problems associated with socialism. Then we look at